Welcome everybody to the next edition of In the Jungle, the Teesside Lions podcast. We talk about things basketball related and non-basketball related. Today we have a junior edition. So in the junior edition, we have Charlie Bryson and Jacob Ford from the under-12s. We have Harrison McDonald from the under-14s. And we also have Charlie McKenna and Worthy Eka from the under-16s.
Hey!
And they will be joining myself and Anthony Reid to discuss what is going on in the world of basketball and the world of lockdown. So, to begin with, I think we've had a campaign to keep people engaged and keep people entertained and hopefully keep people fit during lockdown. We've called it Stay Healthy with Lions. And as you may or may not be able to see, it is important to stay healthy. And right now, I'm staying healthy with that. I'm staying healthy on the exercise.
How's the road getting edited out?
So, what's happened? Two minutes. I've gone dizzy. Marvelous.
Is it just me or someone Mike's gone funny?
I think it's just you, Charlie. So it's very important to stay healthy. We've started this Stay Healthy with Lions campaign. I'm on the exercise bike as we conduct this podcast to show people how we need to stay fit and healthy, because soon the basketball courts will be open again. And we're going to need to be ready to go because we want to be successful and build on what we achieved last year. So I'm going to start off while I mean, it's very sweaty on this bike. I've been riding this for about the last hour and a half. So I'm a little bit tired now. And there's nothing better that I find, there's nothing better than a Lions basketball towel just to mop the sweat from my brow.
It's better than stuffing a glass down a Lion's mug.
Well, it's a good point, Charlie, but it is very important to stay hydrated. And it's very important to stay hydrated during any form of exercise, especially in the hot weather as we've had today. So let's kick this off with Charlie Bryson. What have you been doing during lockdown to stay active, to stay fit, to stay healthy with Lions?
Well, we've been practicing basketball. My dad's been making us paint the garage.
Oh, is your dad Mr. Miyagi?
Yeah.
Does he make you paint and wax the fence as well?
No.
No. So, and have you had fun during lockdown? I know it's been boring, but have you done things to keep yourself entertained? Have you played basketball? Yeah. Have you tried to keep active and fun? Because that's important to stay positive and stay mentally healthy as well as physically healthy. Jacob, you're in the same boat there in the under-12s. Mm-hmm. Have you been taking part in the Stay Healthy campaign?
Yeah, I've been doing a lot of the drills.
A lot of the drills?
Yeah.
Good.
And I've also done some extra work too.
Really? So you've been putting extra work in?
Yeah.
Well, I think that's important because what we have now is we have an opportunity where we have time. Whereas before, when we had school and we had basketball and then we had other work and life going on, we didn't have as much time as we do now. Right now, we have this time, so it's important that we take advantage of it. So put in extra shots, put in extra dribbling work, and make sure that we're going to be as good, if not better, when we start again. Harrison, you're on the under-14 team.
Yeah.
You had a good season last year.
Yeah, I think so.
Tell us about it.
Well, we weren't expecting to do so well, obviously, because we came off the project season, call it. So when we came in, I think we shocked ourselves really to come in and be such a dominant team. But then we had a lot of good people. We had Charlie, Max, Ray. They all just came out of nowhere, just playing really well. So that was a shock to all of us. But yeah, it was good. Actually, you can't put me on the spot there.
Charlie doing well was a shock to everyone. Charlie, you were part of that. You were one of the players that really came to life. I mean, you did well the previous season, but you were a dominant force even when you weren't scoring. I mean, you weren't always the top scorer in the games, but you seemed to have this kind of aura about you that was an important presence in the game. And I think if you can be an influence or a motivation for anyone, I can see Harrison next season following in your shoes in terms of that player that you just need them on the court as a stabilising factor. You know, they don't lose their head. Well,
I can't take you seriously on this bike. I'm sorry.
So they don't lose their head apart from several times. But you're just a stabilising factor on the court. How did you find that season, and how are you looking forward to the under-16s challenge next year?
Yeah, last season, like I thought we were going to do better after the first year because like it's hard to get much worse, and as well like we've had some experience now, we're better. So I was like, yeah, I'm pretty confident we'll do better. But then out of nowhere, we somehow find ourselves like
growing
on a 4-game win streak or something like that, and then we realise, hang on, we could actually be contending for the top of the league here. And I think we could have went to go and take the league title if we had that confidence and that experience of close games, and like because there was like the games we lost, they weren't like within like 20 points, 30 points. It was like below 10 points, if that.
I think so, I remember, and I think you're right. The start of the season, I don't think you guys believed how good you were, and the difference was that you guys train over the summer just as hard as during the sessions. There's no kind of off season for us. We keep going, we work hard, and we put a lot of hours in. And when we played our first game, I think it was almost throughout the game, you just almost realised how good you were.
Yeah, I wasn't even looking at the score in that game because like although we weren't winning, because it was a close game, but although we weren't winning the majority of it, I was still like just trying to get over the fact that we were playing the team that like demolished us last year, and we were like we weren't even thinking about the win. We were just like astounded how the fact that we were competing with a team that was at that caliber last year, and it was a bit mental to like comprehend it. And then throughout the season, we picked up our confidence like against them big teams and realised who we actually were. But I think it was too late, that realisation, which was what cost us like a high position or something like that.
Well, I think there's one area that I felt let us down. It was the mental side.
Yeah.
I felt that we were a little bit topsy-turvy, or, you know, peaks and troughs. We would be really strong, and physically we were very good, but then we would have stages where mentally we didn't hold ourselves together, or we lost control
I remember
of our emotions.
One game, an example of, we played Derby away, and the home one, to be honest, but we led by not like a massive, but like a pretty comfortable 4.5 point margin for the whole game. Then we realise this team's second in the league. What's going on here is what we think. The last 2 minutes, they creep back into it, goes to overtime. Same thing happens, we take the lead again. And, you know, because my 3-point shooting, well, mid-range, according to the referee, but yeah, it's just...
In that game, I think that was we were on such a good run, and that game was really the turning point in terms of we lost control of our emotions there. We lost Max Smithson during the game, and he was a dominant player, but we still maintained control after losing Max. When we went into overtime, I could just see, mentally players were starting to break down a little bit. And this is why it's so important to keep control of your emotions throughout the game. If we'd have kept control of our emotions, we would have won in regulation. We wouldn't have made a silly shot here or a silly shot there or a silly mistake here or a silly mistake there. We would have kept control. And it's fine because it is a learning process. It's a curve that we're on. But it's something that I think that all players will have to go through. The next subject is I want to talk to Worthy because I feel, and I mean this in the best way, but I feel Worthy went backwards this season. And as a club, I think we're quite honest with people in the way that if we see something going wrong, we're not going to pitter-patter about it. We want to tell you and address it and make you better. And Worthy, you are one of our, well, if we were to look at talented players and potential stars, you have it. Last season it didn't work, or it didn't work as good as what I was expecting. What do you feel was the reason for this, and what can we do to put that right?
I think last season it was quite I don't know how I would say it, it was a season of ups and downs, and especially what I feel like what put me at a big disadvantage compared to the season before was I think I gained a bit of weight, and my stamina wasn't what it should have been, and I also had an injury that same season as well, and it sort of affected the team and as well as me mentally whenever I would go back to the ball, because it just I didn't have the same touch as I did before, and especially stamina wise, I could only play at top level for a good 5 to 10 minutes, maybe not even that, and then have to come back out.
Is that combined over the season?
Well, yeah, and then basically that was happening, and it sort of put me at a bigger disadvantage as that I was the season before, and I think definitely this year I'll have to work to improve that. And
so, are you motivated? I mean, the thing that's important now is that Harrison has to step up, because he's going to need to be a leader along with Ben Grimes and others in the under-14 team. Charlie is now moving into the under-16, and under-14 to under-16 is quite a big jump. So for the likes of Charlie and Max and Freddie and others, so your problem, you felt that the fitness was the main issue.
Yeah.
So that's a good, and this is what I like about, if we see a problem, I think a problem highlighted and shared is a good lesson for everybody within the club. So you having this experience, we want you to be fitter. You know it now, but also I think if you look behind you and see how good those under-14s are getting, to see where Max Smithson came from and Freddie came from, where they just came out of nowhere, really. Within a year's development, they produced all-star performances this season. That's what I was expecting from you this year, and Witness as well. Yes? Have you been working on the Stay Healthy with the Lions campaign?
Yeah, I have. We go to the courts near us every single day for about an hour to 2 hours a day to work on our game, I guess.
Right. And it's not just shooting and messing around. You're actually staying true to the program. Because this is important, because I know that Jacob Ford, he gets a little bit excited and starts doing all kinds of stuff that he sees on The Last Dance and not sticking to the program. We don't want to miss stages out of development. So when we put this program together, myself and Anthony, it was about the fundamentals, the kind of raw ingredients you need to develop. So Anthony, how do you feel that overall the junior side of the club went last year?
Yeah, I think there was a huge development from last year, and then especially in the under-14s. But then I think there was a lot of learning that went on in the under-16s as well. Although we didn't have the sort of depth in the under-16s team, but I think the majority of players learned a lot, and we built a lot as a club. And I think we've built the foundations at under-14 and under-16 to have better teams as we go forward. But yeah, I really enjoyed coaching the 16s, although we didn't have the depth of the under-14s.
I think it is. It's a building process, and we as players and coaches, we don't get frustrated with the tools we have or the lack of tools that we have. The under-16s, I mean, we had players like Daniel Price and Harry Hartley and others that they'd only just been playing less than a year. Really, I mean, they were raw players. They've learned a lot over the season. I think they were a little bit intimidated at times. But to see them develop over the course of that season, and, well, really, the hope is that they can repeat what we've seen from Max Smithson and Charlie and others in the way that they will develop into solid players. I think that when we have Charles and Joshua, Charles Copeland and Joshua Thompson from the under-16s who were playing in senior men's National League games and actually being productive players. They weren't just warming the bench or taking on minutes as a pity. They were actually producing the goods on the court. Is that something that is inspiring for you, Charlie McKenna?
Yeah, because obviously I'm approaching that age now. Well, near it. I'm getting closer. Seeing Josh and Charles over the years, not just now, this season, but over the past years, I've always wanted to, despite being younger, I've always wanted to get onto their caliber and just push myself to be as good as I can. If I see them at one age, I'm I want to be that good, if not better, when I get to that age. And I kind of use older people as targets for my if
targets.
Yeah.
Wow, not inspirational figures, but targets.
Yeah.
I love you.
Meet their caliber and skill, or get better by the time I reach that age.
And Worthy, they were, Josh and Charles were teammates of yours last season. What do you think about what they did in the National League men's, and is that an ambition of yours to play for the senior men?
Yeah, I think definitely, because same with Charlie. I've grown up a couple of years and grown in basketball with them, and I've always seen them aside from Charles, because Charles came in more recently, but I've always seen them as having such a big aura towards them, and wherever they're playing, they've got this this glow to them that you just don't normally see, and along with them, I've always wanted to play alongside them and play even better than them, and also have ambitions for playing nationally and get the sight of many people across the UK and maybe across the world one day.
I think it's important to have those ambitions, aspirations, and driving factors. It's always things like that that will push you on. I remember Anthony Reid used to play and still plays in number 7. And the reason he plays in number 7 is because I wore number 6. And he wanted to be one better than me. I mean, he's still trying. And one day he might get there. But no, it's important to look up to people within the club and to have inspirational role models ahead of you that will fire you up and motivate you to get better. We all of us, regardless of age, whether you're my age, I think what was my last birthday? I think I was 29 last birthday.
You were 32 yesterday.
Was I 32? 32, you're right, Charlie, you're right. I'm getting a little bit old, once you get over 30, you start forgetting, but 32 sounds about right.
Goes backwards from there.
Once you get to whether you're my age or Anthony's age or Jacob and Charlie's age, you have a responsibility to be a positive role model within the club for the people that are around you. So where you are looking up at somebody else, quite often you forget to look down. And when you look down, you will see a lot of people looking up to you. And I remember a while ago, I was talking to, in the coaching academy that we have, where Harrison and Charlie McKenna are part of our developmental community coaches. And I can really see Charlie Bryson and Jacob Ford both in the future becoming that kind of player where you actually coach as well. You just have that about you. And when you take on that role in a basketball club, it develops you as a player as well. And Anthony will tell us a little bit more about this because he's done this. He's been a player, or he still is a player, but he's added those different attributes to his game where he is now a coach and a referee. And you just see a different perspective of the game. And that actually makes you a better player. But I remember talking to the group and I was saying that, little Theo Thompson that runs around and causes havoc and, fantastic little player, but just a bundle of energy. 7 years old, and we have lots of children around that age, but they will watch what you do because you are the role models for them. And what you do, they will generally copy. So the other day, when, it was a while ago now, but when Theo was wearing his headphones around his neck, because that's what Charlie McKenna does, and he wears his sliders to basketball. I mean, he doesn't know this. He doesn't watch anything on TV like basketball related, but he will wear his sliders to a game because he sees Max Smithson wear sliders to a game. So you all have a responsibility in being a positive role model to the people that are around you and the people that are below you, because people are watching. There are always eyes upon you. Anthony, if you can maybe just reiterate or kind of continue on what I was saying there about you have become a coach and referee as well, and you've found that a useful experience.
Yeah, 100%. I think volunteering in different areas of basketball, like for me, first it was refereeing. It shows you a different side, and you see things to do with the game that you didn't see before, that it might have taken you a much longer time to discover as a player, because you're forced to look at something as a referee, for example. And you just see things in a different way, and it forces you to learn. And same thing with coaching. You start to learn why players do certain things. You start to see patterns, and you see players doing the things that you do on the court, but from a step back. It just gives you that extra perspective of understanding what's going on and being able to read the game better. And then I think it also allows you to empathise with referees, coaches, and stuff like that. So you can see sort of the logic of what a coach goes through when they're making a decision. And then you can understand why, when your coach tells you to do something, why they're saying it and what exactly they're wanting you to do. Excellent.
I think valuable advice, and if we all take that on board, I think it's something that will make us all better in the future. We're never too old to learn. I'm looking forward to the future, and it brings us on to our next topic, really, because in terms of never too old to learn and looking to the future, I'm looking forward to our new senior men's head coach. You guys might have heard about the appointment. The new head coach of the Lions Senior National League men's team is the Great Britain coach, Mark Stoutel. So I don't know whether you're aware of him, but Charlie Bryson, are you aware of this person?
I don't know who he is, but I've heard people say he's the new coach.
Right, so you're aware of the situation and what's going on. Have you ever seen Great Britain play basketball?
I think I've seen one or two of the games, yeah.
Okay, did you go to the game in February with your dad?
Yeah, the one in Newcastle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, do you know that the person that was coaching the Great Britain team then, that was Mark Stoutel. And he is now the Lions head coach. That's a pretty big appointment, yeah?
Yeah.
Has he stepped up from Great Britain, or is it a step down? Say the right word. Say the right words. Jacob Ford, what do you think? You're another under 12 player, so were you aware of Mark Stoutel?
Yeah. A bit, yeah.
So you were aware of him before he came to Lions. So do you think it's a good move for Lions to bring Mark into the club?
Yeah, it's a very good move, and I think it will help the Lions even more.
Good. I mean, one thing we've when we brought him in, part of the deal was that we wanted him to be involved in the whole club. So we wanted him to have an impression or an influence on not only the senior men's team, but also the club training, the National League juniors. So whether indirectly or directly, he might be at one of your sessions watching you guys play. Is that going to make you work harder?
Yeah, definitely.
That's good to hear, because I think if our players can grow up in this club knowing that the Great Britain coach is watching them, they might be thinking that one day you might get to not only play for Teesside Lions, but one day could play for Great Britain. Harrison McDonald, would that be a dream come true if you could play for Great Britain?
Yeah, that'd be great, because like when you remember you going, like we went to in Newcastle, we watched them play. It's like you watch them play from that perspective, and it's just mad to think that like one day you could be on the other side of it. Like people are watching you and looking up at like, I want to be there one day. So I think that'd be massive to play for Great Britain team.
So did you hear about Mark before he was appointed to the club?
I knew he was the coach, but I never really was that much like interested in knowing that much about him until he was signed. But once he was signed, it was like that was massive.
Right. Was that a wow moment?
More. Pardon?
Was it a wow moment?
Yeah, not very much so. Because when you see it, and then you had the one of the first podcasts come out about him. I was like, man, then you look up a bit more about him. It's like, wow, Jesus, this guy's the Great Britain coach. It's crazy to think.
Yeah, I think it is. It's a big story. It's an exciting one for the club. We've got about 3 minutes left. My bum is very numb. I'm not going to lie. This is almost 2 hours now I've been on this machine.
He's a poet and he doesn't know it.
Worthy Ika, are you still with us?
Yeah.
Okay, so Mark Stoutel, what do you know about Mark?
Well, as soon as I found out the news, that I instantly did so much research just to find out a bit more about him, and then the podcast came out. Obviously, go and watch that on the Teesside Lions YouTube channel right now. And basically, as soon as I found out, yeah, in the description below, and then I also found out that he was born in Liverpool, and I was born in Liverpool, and it just. I remember when we first heard the news as household, and then everybody was really excited and oh my God, so much publicity is going to come to Teesside and stuff like that. And we went from being this pretty much mostly irrelevant place on the map to now the Great Britain coach has come to coach us as well. And it really just brings a massive bunch of experience to the club, and it sort of gives you an even more professionalized view to basketball and basketball in the UK. And I can't wait to meet him, and I can't wait for him to help in the camps and coach everyone as well.
Good. Well, this is good then. So what we wanted when we appointed Mark was we wanted to give everybody a boost during lockdown, let people know that, basketball will return. There's something to look forward to. Mark's involvement will have, we've been working very hard, myself and Mark, behind the scenes on recruiting new players to make sure that we have a team that is going to be an exciting one to watch and hopefully a successful one in the league. But we, we both want to see places maintained for junior development players. And it's not going to be given out freely. People are going to have to earn it. And Josh and Charles, it may be even more difficult for them this year because other people are getting better. There might be new players in the squad coming in. But we still want to have that opportunity for young players to join in that framework. So the motivation, the incentive, everything is there for all of you guys to keep going, to make it happen. That is all we have time for, guys. Hope you have enjoyed this little podcast, this little discussion, and we will look forward to seeing you again soon. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks.